Hi, and welcome to English-Fabule. Are you learning English? Great. Let's learn English with a very interesting story. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. Let's get started.
Every person on earth will die one day. This is a simple truth. It does not matter what color your skin is or where you come from. It does not matter how much money you have. Rich and poor, young and old, everyone faces death. It is the one thing all living beings share. We know this in our minds, but sometimes we do not truly understand it in our hearts. Life is very short. When we think about how many people die every day, every hour, every minute, we see that our time here is small. In about 120 years, everyone alive now will be gone. New people will be here. This is how life works. It goes on and on. If life is so short and we all share the same end, why do people fight so much? Why do they get angry at each other? Why do people hurt other people? Why do families argue and stop speaking? Why do friends talk badly about each other? We are all on this journey together. We are like one big team, but sometimes we act like enemies. Maybe we act like this because we do not often think about the true meaning of life. We do not think enough about the fact that we will not be here forever. If we truly understood how short our time is, perhaps we would be kinder. Perhaps we would love more deeply, laugh more often, and be more present in each moment. Understanding the true meaning of life is not easy. It is something very deep. But what is clear is that we need to think about it. When we understand why we are here, we can live better. We can stop hurting each other. We can make every moment count and cherish the time we have with others. This knowledge can help us live a life that is full and good for ourselves and for everyone around us. 2. A new world. A respected doctor found himself on a train with many other people. There were 1,500 people in total. 80 people were forced into each small train car. They lay on top of their few belongings. Nobody knew where they were going, but a bad feeling filled the air. Then the train stopped. A sign said, Auschwitz. This name brought a feeling of great fear. Some people hoped it was just a factory. When they got off the train, they faced their first test. A calm officer from the SS pointed his finger. He sent people to 2 different lines. One line was for work, which meant a chance to live. The other line was for sick or weak people. This line meant death right away. The doctor had a special paper with him. It was his life's work. He tried to stand tall and look strong. The officer sent him to the line for work. But many people, 90 out of every 100 on that train, went to the other line. Later that night, the doctor asked about a friend. This friend had gone to the left line. Another prisoner pointed to a tall chimney. Smoke and fire came out of it. He said, "Your friend is there, going up to heaven." The new world quickly took everything from them. They went to a cleansing station. They hoped it was a real bath. But first, they had to give up all their things. Watches, rings, and everything else were thrown onto blankets. The doctor tried to save his important papers. He told an old prisoner about them. The prisoner just shouted one word: "Shit." In that moment, the doctor understood. His old life was gone. He had nothing left. After this, they were all shaved. Every hair on their bodies was removed. Then they were pushed into showers. They were completely naked. They had only their bare bodies. It was strange, but they did not get sick. They slept 9 people on hard wooden beds and were surprised they could sleep. Their teeth were fine, even without cleaning them. They learned that people can get used to almost anything. Thoughts of ending their lives came to many. The easiest way was to run into the electric fence. But the doctor decided not to. He saw that dying in the gas chambers was already planned for many. So ending his own life felt not needed. This terrible situation made people react in abnormal ways, but it was normal for that place. 3. How to stay alive. After the first shock, a new feeling came to the prisoners. It was like not feeling anything much, a kind of apathy. This feeling was not a sign of weakness. Instead, it was a way the mind protected itself from too much pain. If a person felt everything around them, they would break. So their emotions became dull. They could see terrible things happen and not react with horror or sadness. It was like their feelings had gone to sleep to keep them safe. They watched their fellow prisoners get beaten, sometimes for no reason. In the beginning, such sights were hard to see. But after some time, they could watch without a change in their faces. They might be sipping their thin soup, and if a dead body was pulled from their room, they would just keep eating. Their eyes saw it, but their hearts did not feel it. This helped them live through each day in the camp. The guards often treated the prisoners like animals. They would hit them with sticks or throw things at them, not caring if they caused pain. This made many prisoners feel less than human. The insult of being treated this way was often worse than the physical pain. It was a deep cut to their dignity. Yet sometimes a small spark of the old self would show. One man, when called a pig, bravely said, "I was a doctor." This small act of standing up for himself brought a strange, brief relief. As time went on, one need became stronger than any other: food. It was all people could think about. Their minds went back to basic urges. Dreams at night were full of bread, cake, and warm water for bathing. During the day, conversations were often about food. They talked about meals they had loved and meals they would eat if they ever got free. The small piece of bread given each day was very important. Prisoners thought a lot about how to eat it. Should they eat it all quickly to feel full for a short time and stop others from stealing it? Or should they divide it into tiny parts to have small moments of comfort throughout the long, hard day? Many chose to save little crumbs. Eating a small piece of bread during the cold, dark morning roll call could give a tiny bit of hope. The hunger was so great that other human desires, like wanting to be close to others, almost disappeared. The mind became simple, focused only on survival and the thought of the next meal. 4. A free mind. The men in the camp faced terrible pain every day. Yet, some sensitive people found a way to survive inside their minds. They learned to make their thoughts free even when their bodies were not. They knew that their inner life was the only thing the guards could not take away. This inner world helped them stay strong. They proved that even in the worst places, the human spirit could find its own space. It was a special kind of strength, not of the body, but of the soul. These people, who might seem weak, often showed the most inner power. One powerful way to find peace was to think of someone they loved. A prisoner might close his eyes and imagine his wife or child. He would remember their faces, their smiles, or their voices. He would talk to them in his mind, feeling their presence very close. This thinking about loved ones brought a feeling of happiness, even for a short time. It showed the prisoners that love was real, even if the person was far away or lost forever. This love gave them great strength. It helped them feel less alone and more hopeful. It was a powerful force that kept them going day after day in their terrible conditions. Love became a light in the darkness. Even in the dark camp, beauty could be found. Sometimes a prisoner would look up and see a beautiful sunset. The bright colors in the sky, reflecting in the muddy ground, made them stop and watch. For a moment, they forgot the horror around them. They might think, how beautiful the world can be. Other times, they heard music. Maybe someone played a small song on a hidden instrument during the night. This music could make them feel sad, but it also made them remember life outside the camp. It reminded them of beauty and hope that still existed somewhere. Another helpful tool was humor. Laughter was rare, but when it happened, it was very strong. Prisoners would tell jokes or make funny comments about their situation. It was a way to make fun of the guards or the bad conditions. For a few seconds, humor made them feel strong. It helped them rise above their pain and fear. It was a small win, a moment when they felt free and powerful, even if only for a short time. These simple mental acts helped many survive the camp's daily cruelties. They showed that the mind could be a place of freedom no matter what was happening outside. 5. A reason for pain. The doctor in the camp saw that people could lose everything. They could lose their homes, their families, and even their names. But there was one freedom no one could take away. This was the freedom to choose your attitude. Even when life was full of pain, a person could decide how they would face it. They could choose to give up or to find a reason to keep going. This idea meant that suffering itself could have meaning. It was not just bad. When a person faced something terrible they could not change, like a bad illness, they still had power. They could choose how to react to their pain. Bearing suffering bravely could be a victory inside the mind. It showed a person's true strength. This way, even in suffering, people could prove their worth. The doctor remembered a young woman in the camp who was dying. Even though she was very sick, she was happy. She told him she was thankful for her hard life now. Before the camp, she had everything and did not care about important things like feelings or spirit. Now she found meaning in small things. She looked at a tree branch with 2 flowers outside her window. She called it her only friend. When asked what the tree told her, she said, "I am here. I am life, eternal life." This woman found a deep meaning in her last days. Life in the camp was like living without knowing when it would end. Prisoners did not know if they would live one more day or one more year. This made it hard to think about the future. If a person stopped seeing a future goal, they often gave up. The doctor saw that he needed to keep looking forward. During a very hard march, when he was in much pain, he imagined something. He thought of himself giving a talk on a warm stage, explaining the psychology of life in the camp. By thinking about his suffering this way, like a study, he could rise above it. This became an important idea for him later. He understood that if you give a person a why to live, a reason or a goal for the future, they can get through almost any how, no matter how hard things are. Having a purpose made the pain easier to bear. It gave life meaning even when everything else was lost. 6. A reason to live. After living through extreme suffering, the doctor saw clearly that people need a strong reason to live. He created a new idea called logotherapy. This name comes from the Greek word logos, which means meaning. Logotherapy is a way of understanding how people find their purpose in life. It teaches that our deepest wish is not to simply feel happy or to have power over others. For a long time, some thinkers believed that pleasure or power was the main thing people wanted. However, logotherapy says this is not true. Instead, our most important goal is to find meaning in what we do and in our existence. This search for meaning is a very strong force inside every person, and this meaning is unique to each one of us. When a person cannot find this unique meaning, they often feel empty inside. This feeling is known as the existential vacuum. It is like a great emptiness inside their spirit. This emptiness can happen when old traditions no longer tell people what to do, and instincts do not guide them completely. With nothing to tell them what they must do or should do, many people do not even know what they wish to do. When people do not know what their purpose is, they can feel lost and confused. This lack of meaning can lead to deep boredom. It can also cause people to become very sad or even angry. Some people might get depressed, aggressive, or addicted to things, trying to fill that empty space. Logotherapy says that a life without meaning can be hard, but it also says that we do not always need life to be easy and without problems. In fact, a healthy mind needs some tension. This is not bad tension, but a good kind of tension. It is the gap between who we are right now and who we want to become. It is the difference between what we have already done and what we still need to do. This no dynamics or tension helps us grow. It pulls us forward, giving us a reason to work and to achieve our best. Without this pull, life can feel very flat and without direction. This good tension helps people stay strong and find their special place in the world. It encourages them to take responsibility for their lives and choices, constantly striving to fulfill their potential. 7. 3 paths to meaning. In the last chapter, we learned that looking for meaning is our biggest goal. But how do we find this meaning? We might think we ask life what its meaning is. However, it is the other way around. Life asks us questions. Life asks us what our meaning is. We do not answer with just words, but with our actions. We answer with how we live our lives. We are responsible for finding our own path. There are 3 main ways to find meaning. The first way is by creating something or doing a job. This means using our skills to make something new or to help others through our work. For example, a painter creates art. A builder builds houses. A teacher helps students learn. When we put our effort into a task and it helps others or makes something good, we find meaning. It gives us a sense of purpose and achievement. It shows us that our actions matter in the world. The second way to find meaning is by experiencing something or by loving someone. This can be about seeing beauty in the world around us. Maybe it's watching a beautiful sunset or listening to wonderful music. It can also be about feeling deep connection with nature. But most importantly, it is about loving another person. When we truly love someone, we see them in a special way. We see their good qualities and their possibilities. Loving another person can bring us great joy and deep meaning. It helps us grow and see the world in a more caring way. The third way, which can be the most powerful, is by the attitude we take when we face suffering we cannot change. Sometimes bad things happen and we cannot stop them. We might get very sick or lose someone we love. In these hard times, we still have one freedom. We can choose how we react. We can choose our attitude. When we accept our fate bravely, even if it hurts, our suffering can have a meaning. It can become a sacrifice or a way to grow stronger. Think of an old doctor who lost his beloved wife. He was very sad. Someone asked him, "What if your wife had died first and you had to live without her?" The doctor said that would have been terrible for her. Then he understood. By living and feeling this pain, he had saved his wife from suffering. His sadness now had a new meaning. It was an act of love. This changed how he felt. His pain became a brave sacrifice. So, even in the darkest times, we can find meaning by choosing our attitude and showing courage. This path shows us the strength of the human spirit. 8. A hopeful end. Chapter 8 talks about something called tragic optimism. This means saying yes to life, even when there is pain, guilt, and death. It is about choosing to be hopeful and finding meaning when things are hard. This is not about being happy all the time. Happiness often comes from finding meaning. Tragic optimism helps us change negative parts of life into something helpful. First, let's look at pain. Suffering can be turned into a human achievement. If we cannot change a bad situation, we can choose our attitude toward it. For example, a man who became paralyzed said, "I broke my neck, but it didn't break me." He used his challenge to help others. This shows the strong power of the human spirit. Even in the camps, people found ways to endure by choosing their inner thoughts. Next is guilt. When we feel guilty, it gives us an important chance to change ourselves for the better. We are not responsible for what others do. But if we do something wrong, we can accept our own guilt. This acceptance is the first step to grow beyond it. We can decide to act differently in the future. This personal responsibility helps us become better people. Then there is death. Life does not lose its meaning because it ends. Instead, knowing life is not forever makes every moment more important. Each moment passes and will never return, so we should use it well. Our past is like a full storehouse of valuable moments. Deeds done, loves loved, and sufferings bravely faced. Nothing can take these meanings from us. So, death encourages us to live fully and deeply now, to cherish every present moment. In the end, we always have a choice. Even in the most difficult situations, a person can choose his or her attitude. We are not just controlled by our surroundings. We decide what we will become. Humans can invent terrible things like gas chambers. But humans can also walk into those gas chambers with dignity and a prayer. This shows the deep freedom and strong spirit within each person. Our world faces many challenges. It is up to each of us to live a life filled with meaning and responsibility. What do you think is the most important meaning a person can find in their life, especially when facing difficulties?
Hey there! Just a second before you go. If you learned something new today, please give this video a like, write your thoughts in the comments, and subscribe to the channel. It only takes a second, and it really, really helps to create even better English videos for you. Your support means the world. Thank you.